Hello and welcome to the reunion for 1984 lockdown. Zach just won the season unanimously for the first time in 1984 history. So we are here for some awards and to discuss the season and do all that fun jazz. So I'm going to go on screen share and we will get you guys some awards. Okay, here we go. Okay, the first award is the most robbed pre-juror. Our nominees are Josh, Rachel, and Sandy. So the winner is Rachel. Kind of an obvious one. Rachel was a very big force in this game pre-jury. It was one of the biggest moves, getting Rachel out that early. I genuinely did not expect her to go that soon. After she stayed week one, I'm pretty sure I said in the VL and the production chat that there's no way Rachel goes before final five, but she obviously did. Beth, good move on your part for getting Rachel out because I do think she was a very big contender to win this game. But yes, Rachel is the most robbed pre-juror. The most robbed juror, the nominees are Beth, Brian, and Thomas. The winner is Brian. All three of them, I think, were very much robbed, but Brian was another person who was a big force in this game. I think he had a very good shot at winning. He was in a very good position. I think Zach had just positioned himself a little better between the two of them. Those two, it was a very fun rivalry between the two of you all season. But I do think Brian had a really good shot if he made the end. A couple more comp wins and he might have been able to do it. Next award is the worst move. So our nominees are Austin not nominating Thomas and Brian together, Jacob gunning for the week 6 veto, and Caleb evicting Julia instead of Zach. So the worst move was Jacob gunning for the week 6 veto. So Jacob absolutely threw his game away with this, and I don't think he realized it at the time. So this week, Julia easily could have saved herself, and Jacob would not have had to sit out of 3 head of household competitions, and Julia still would have been safe. And then that very much put a target on Jacob's back, especially after he immediately went and saved Rachel after being part of the reason Rachel was up. So it was a big mess, and that's why Jacob has gotten worse move for that. I do think that Austin not putting up Brian and Thomas together was also a very big contender. I think Austin trusting Madison and Julia a little too much was a big downfall. But I do think that the scenario of Brian winning that veto during the double was like the only scenario in which Austin goes home. So that's part of the reason that it wasn't the worst move, but very close. So the best move, we've got Brian convincing Zach and Julia to save him at final 6, Zach, Julia, and Madison during Constance's HOH, and Zach convincing Thomas and Brian to not backdoor him at final 6. So the winner was Zach, Julia, and Madison during Constance's HOH. So
period as it should.
This move, watching this like play out was very fun for me. So the 3 of them being on the bottom openly in Circle Night and still managing to all 3 stay safe during that week. Julia winning that power veto, pulling Madison off, Zach managing to not get voted out there when he absolutely should have. It was amazing to watch. Zach definitely should have followed Rachel out the door, but clearly that didn't happen. I do see reasons why he was saved, because I definitely think he was a big target in front of some other people. However, I do think the way that those 3 managed that round was beautiful. Next, we have the best duo. I decided not to do nominees for best duo. There was a lot of different duos that were made during the season, but the one that stuck out to production the most was Brian and Thomas. So this ended up being kind of a rivalry towards the end, but the two of you ran a lot of this game together. It was really fun to see the two of you's calls and watch you two play this game together. You might be mad at me this next one, but the best alliance goes to fuck these bitches. So this was a very fun alliance. It kind of fell into place for you three, but it was still really fun to see you guys in action, especially with that best move week. I do have an honorable mention of the besties with Zach, Brian, Thomas, and Rachel. I think that Fuck These Bitches just worked well together pretty much the whole time they were an alliance, whereas the besties did kind of turn on each other a little bit. But both of those alliances were really fun to watch. And so, yeah. Next, the hero of the season. The hero of the season nominees are Beth, Jacob, and Zach. Some of you might be surprised at Zach being a nominee there.
I'm surprised.
But if you look at my edgic at the end of the season, or like after this, Zach did get a hero edit compared to what we'll get to. So the hero of the season was Beth, however. So Beth made some of the biggest moves this season, but nobody hated her for it at all. She did it in such a way that nobody was really that mad at her other than the person getting turned on. And when she backdoored Rachel, it was not Beth at all that got the heat for that. It was more Brian. So that's part of the reason why Beth has won the Hero of the Season award. And next, the villain of the season. The nominees are Brian, Dylan, and Thomas. We decided to give this to Thomas. So Brian and Thomas very much both could have won this award. However, I did decide to give it to Thomas because he was the one more vocally calling people out at the evictions and the ceremonies. While Brian was doing more of the villainous moves, Thomas was more openly a villain. So that's why I leaned towards him. But Brian absolutely was also a villain this season as well. And that's another reason why Zach was nominated for hero, was because Brian and Thomas were kind of the rivalry between Zach. So next is player of the season. Our nominees are Beth, Brian, and Zach. We gave this award to Brian. So Zach, you were very much in contention for this award, but we try not to give it to the winner. So Brian, you played a really good game this season. You absolutely could have won this. It was just a few competitions away. Beth, you also played a great game this season. You took out Rachel. You almost took out Brian. You took out Thomas. So there were, all three of you played really well this season. It was really fun to watch all of you. But we did obviously award this to Brian. So next, I believe, yes, we have our host favorite awards. I believe Rizzo is here. So Rizzo, if you want to
I am. I'll go on
yours. So if you want to talk about yours, and then when you're ready, I can.
You could show it. So for my person that I enjoyed the most was Beth. And for obvious reasons, Michael kind of said it, Beth. I remember when we first were in the casting process and talking, you were just like, I've never played Big Brother. I'm new to orgs. I don't even watch the show like that. And I'm like, all right, I'll see what this girl's all about. And then you just beat everybody in comps. You make all the biggest moves by putting up Rachel, but you try to get Zach out at Final Four. You were doing everything right. And for someone that doesn't play that many orgs, you just had the energy, you had the strategy. It was refreshing, especially for a woman to do it too. It was just refreshing to see in an org. So you were my rock star.
Okay. Next is Caleb's cutie. Caleb is not here, but he chose Madison for his host favorite. I'm sure he will have some kind of comment eventually. Same with Blake. Blake is not here, but he gave his award to Caleb. So I will talk a little bit on this one. Me and Blake have tried to get Caleb to play this game for a very long time. And so finally getting to see you play was really fun for us. So then my award. So I had a couple different people I wanted to give this to, but I ended up giving it to Brian. Brian, I watched you play in Surviving. You were really close to the win there. This season, you were really close to the win again. You'll get it one day. I really enjoyed watching Brian play. You and then Zach as well, both of you managed to get out of weeks that neither of you should have. And so it's really fun to see that happen. But I obviously gave mine to Brian. And then this next award, it was like a really close vote. I sent the VL favorite house guest poll today, so we didn't necessarily have the biggest feedback. But the winner of the VL favorite house guest was Madison. So yes, Madison, you were the VL's favorite. So that is all the awards we have. I will say, fantasy draft wise, Blake won the viewers fantasy draft by a landslide. He had the final three as well as Madison on his team. So he obviously won that. And then the production team draft. So I can go through each of our teams if we give me just a second. But let me see. Give me 1 second. I need to open up my file. So for the production draft, the past 2 seasons, our first draft team member was whoever we made our auto cast for the season. So that was Caleb was Beth, Rizzo's was Lee, mine was Josh, and Blake's was Thomas. So then the rest, I'll go in the order that we were eliminated from the draft. So my team was Josh, Rachel, Madison, and Constance. Rizzo's team was Lee, Brian, Jacob, and Austin. Blake's team was Thomas, Caleb, Marvin, and Dylan. And then Caleb obviously won with Beth, Zach, Julia, and Sandy. So yeah, I believe that is all. So if any of you guys have any questions, if you want to talk about anything, if you need to know anything, now is the time for an open discussion.
Who voted me out on Circle Night?
Who voted you out on Circle Night? It was
Caleb, fuck you on Circle Night, saying that you threw your vote when it mathematically didn't make fucking sense.
Listen, I had to hold this. Listen, the whole time I was like, I'm fucking screwed no matter what final 7, right? So I'm like, I need Jacob. Who the fuck is Jacob? I need Zach and Julia to trust me. And so I had to fucking lie.
We trusted you less because you kept lying.
We all knew you were lying. Everyone knew you were lying.
Yeah, I knew it. So
But it literally didn't make mathematics sense. We would be there like
I know.
And we had it plotted out beforehand.
Oh yeah, we had it we literally had a spreadsheet of it. We screenshotted a spreadsheet and we were ready.
The spreadsheet. Y'all are wild for that.
I mean, look who got the last laugh at the end, though. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, period, honestly.
Okay. So the Circle Night chart, the Edgic,
I didn't know. Dylan, I did not tell Constance anything.
That's what
at all. I did not tell him a single thing. That whole thing, I had no clue. I was like, what the fuck is this? Because seriously, I did not say a single thing.
Oh no,
Who did tell Constance?
Yeah, I think who did tell Constance?
No,
I did not.
Constance. Constance.
I wasn't even on the call.
Let me tell you, he is delusional. I only really came here because I wanted to see him. I want to give you. This is your guys' thing. You guys all made it to the jury phase, so it's really for you guys to discuss. So since he's not here, I'm not really going to talk.
No, pop off, Danny.
He told me that he assumed that people would be talking about him. So he just said that people were talking about, or that he knew people were talking about him to find out exactly what was said.
He is actually insane. He actually has this weird mindset where he thinks everyone's out to get him, and that causes people to get out to get him. He was trying to tell me that I needed to prove to him that I wasn't after him. I didn't put you on the block the first week. I don't know, but I was happy that you guys got rid of him. But I don't want to take up your guys' time.
You're welcome.
Okay, I want to say everyone gave me so much shit for not using the power veto on Zach when I was his house guest choice. That was the plan.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to know that I'm not just a bitch.
That was so shady because me and Thomas totally knew that was like the plan, but you're also like, are we really gonna keep Jacob over Zach? Like we were just in such a pickle about it.
Just the way it was, because we knew he was gonna put up Jacob, and I had y'all and Julia and Madison at that point, so like I had 4 votes already, and then I had Beth and Caleb too. So
that was Zach. As much as I love you, that was not because of the relationship we had at that point. It was literally because I was so pissed at Jacob about what had happened during that round right before.
Jacob was in a group with us, like saying like, "Hey, I want to put up Rachel." He was in a group, a 4-person alliance with me, Beth, Jacob, and Brian, and he was like, "I want to put up Rachel." So we were all like, "Yes, do it."
I was like, because everyone said something like, "Oh, who do you want to replace them with?" And I said, Rachel. And then, Rachel. And then they said, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." And Jacob was like, "Yeah, let's
he was
do
so
it."
behind
And Jacob was like, "I didn't know you were going to be the renom. I wouldn't have used veto
Dude, that's
and
a
I
lie.
knew that was a lie. No, I knew it was a lie because I was like, you wouldn't have gone for veto if there wasn't a plan. Like, there's literally no way that makes sense. But I guess I like talked.
We gaslit him like hard.
Yeah,
it was
we did
an idea that like I had already, and I was like, well, I know that Rachel's a good player, and I don't know how things are gonna go, and I don't really have any targets right now, and like I just didn't know what to do. And then I was like, well, Rachel's an incredible person when she comes to talking to people. She's so convincing. Like, I swear to God, Rachel, you almost had me change my mind, and I was like, this.
Well, I didn't talk to her that day. She would have had me.
Okay, yeah, that's what made me mad, Austin, is because you said, "Oh, we'll call," and then you just never talked to me, and I was like, and then Brian disappeared
Kind of his thing.
3 hours before the vote, and I was like, "Boy's guilty." I said, "It's fine, he's guilty."
I knew if I got on call with you, there's no doubt in my mind you would convince me to change my vote because you put a little pressure on me. I'll flip because I feel so bad about doing it anyway because I did like you as a person. So it's just like if I don't talk to her, I can just vote her and be fine.
And that was the thing with my vote that round. I was like, Jacob at first was like on board with the plan to vote out Rachel. So I'm like, perfect. There's 4 votes without me. I'm going to pretend I don't have anything to do with it, and I'll sit pretty. But then Jacob backs out of the plan, and I already promised my vote to both sides. I'm like, fuck, now I'm getting exposed. So I really did not want Rachel to go home that round. It was just that the only person I would have considered it against is Thomas. So it was really just like the worst scenario.
Well, the funniest thing is that, Brian, when you came to me and you said Jacob is going around, or Jacob just came to me and said that he doesn't want to vote Rachel out, in my head, I was like, oh my God, Brian's only telling me this because he's not going to vote for Rachel to go out. So he's trying to cover up his vote by blaming it on Jacob. And I was like thinking 10 steps ahead. And then Jacob calls me, not even 10 minutes later, he goes, so what are your thoughts on not putting Rachel up? And I was like, okay, now I'm confused.
Jacob definitely had a change of heart after we called and messaged, and Julia messaged him, and Madison called him, and it was a lot. And then Brian was like, if you have the votes, if you have Jacob, then like you're good. And I was like, cool. And I was like, I got Jacob. And then Brian was like, I'm gonna disappear forever. And I was like, oh, like I don't know. I think my frustration the most was just like lying like that in Big Brother. It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I get it, if I'm going home, I'm going home. But like, there's nothing I can do about it. There's no idols in Big Brother. Like, I'm not gonna like whip something out. Like, I don't know. And like
the only reason why sorry, go ahead.
Like pre-jury, like I understand like jury if you're trying to like save face and try to make sure that I don't know who's doing what. Like, I don't know. But like pre-jury, nothing I can do about it. Just tell me. Like, instead of
I'm just a mess.
Like 6'2", and then I don't know.
And what's annoying is, Rachel, that I came after you not even like because of something I saw in you. It's because I had like Madison and Lee and Constance were like 3 of the main people that said how big of a threat you were because of your connections and like how you play. And Lee wanted you out of there so he could move up on Brian and Zach's totem pole. And I was being serious.
I need Lee in here to tell me that then, because
he's at a wedding.
He still to this day will not own that. So.
Oh, can I mention something really quick? Because I know you're probably thinking about it. Lee did get in a car accident that day 3 years ago. 3 years ago on that day. Zach.
Wait, what?
No,
Lee
you
did
didn't.
not.
I knew it.
I have to go. I have to go.
Wait, no, that's vile, Lee.
ass was
Lee, if you're
at
watching
work,
this,
I
that's
was like,
vile.
I literally was at work and I went to my coworkers and I was like, somebody who's an online friend that I've never met before in my entire life just got in a car accident. I don't know what to do about it.
Wait, did he say this during his eviction?
No, you just found out now.
That's
He
wrong.
sent like a picture of a totaled car in the house chat, and we were all like, okay.
I
Um,
knew it. It was for
No,
people. I knew it.
Lee took
That's
this
so
game very
much.
seriously. He took it
As
very seriously.
horrible as it sounds, as soon as he sent that picture, I definitely went on Google and I like
We all did.
oh, I reverse image searched it. I did.
Everyone did.
Every single person did.
Rightfully
like, I can't
so.
find it.
Damn.
Oh my
How many of you
Maybe he should
did Lee flirt with, out of curiosity?
Wait,
Maybe
what'd you
Lee
say?
should have been. Maybe Lee should have been a nominee for.
Maybe we.
Maybe he should have been villain. There's some good
I
villains.
actually regret, Rachel, not telling you all that information because maybe you would have done him instead of me. But I
I
didn't
might have.
remember.
I mean, I definitely did plant a whole bunch of seeds on Thomas's HOH to get Lee up. Like, I bashed Lee the night before that to get Lee on the block and send him home.
Okay,
Because
but my
honestly,
favorite
when you
thing,
told me all that shit, that was kind of why I was like done with Brian and Zach. Because I was just like,
Can I say something I need
bothered.
to say?
yes.
Austin, I'm sorry I voted to evict you.
Julia, you act
Sorry.
like I don't know when you do sneaky shit.
Okay.
Like I
Okay,
never
but
know.
was your vote,
I just had to
then?
say I'm sorry. I just had to say I'm sorry. Because I feel bad. I knew
and
you were
also
going,
Zach,
but,
you were saying that I was bitter. Like when I'm saying like I'm the voodoo magic, whatever, I'm putting good energy for Beth and Julia. I'm not putting bad energy to you. I was rooting for those two because those
As you
two were the
should.
ones that had my back that week. And I told Beth right before I left, I was like, you need to take these people out because these are the ones that are running it. And she I was so happy to see her like kill the game. Like after that, like I was so proud of you. Like seriously.
Beth is a beast.
Who were the 3 Sandy votes at the Sandy versus?
Sandy votes were Lee, Julia, and I think it was Beth.
It was Lee. I can't stay on him.
Oh, Lee
think I
They
said
threw every vote.
He was right. He threw a
At
pity
least
vote
then
every time.
he voted wrong every time.
I knew he did the other 2, and then I was
Oh
like,
no! The Sandy votes. It was just Lee and Julia. It was only 2. The next week when it was
yeah, the next one. Sorry.
Austin, it was Beth, Julia, and Lee.
Yeah,
Okay.
I only voted
And I
Sandy.
knew-
Lee vote, and then 2, and then 3, and I was like, is this gonna?
I knew
I
it was
only voted Sandy because I knew that she was like so good socially. And I was like, I feel like she's gonna do a really good job of convincing people to like flip and keep her in and stuff.
No,
so I was like,
I
she hasn't
voted-
really talked much with me. So I just
I
voted her
voted
out.
Sandy because Sandy literally refused to speak to me. So I was like, it's because I beat her son in a hotel room one day.
not bad.
She was so sweet. She was a badass, but I was just like, we hadn't talked very much, and there was only a very small handful that I was talking to until jury started.
Yeah.
It's the way that I sent a whole paragraph to Brian about how I was never going to speak to him again, and I deleted it after like 2 seconds.
I'm so mad about that. I wanted to see it. All I saw was in all capital letters, fakest. Like, that's the only thing.
In like MLA format.
But then Megan messaged me and she was like, hey, Brian wants to know why you blocked him, and like if you could send him the message, or if you could send it to me so I could read it or something. And I was like, I didn't block him, like I just deleted the message.
I thought that's why it went away. I thought you blocked me.
And then like a week later I was like, I miss Brian. I was like, I'm over it, I'm fine. I was over it within like a day. But
Okay. Is there any other information you guys want to know?
Oh, I'm finally off the train, so I can finally talk. First of all, I was using the chat section the entire time. First of all, I want to say that Rachel, on my HOH, I could totally tell that you were planting seeds. I could tell you were a force to be reckoned with in this game. I was not going to piss you off because you were literally the queen. But yeah, I totally knew you were trying to plant seeds.
Yeah.
I looked at that because I didn't want to piss off my alliance members, but also because of the fact that Lee was getting really close to Brian, and I wanted to kind of get closer to Brian as well. And I just knew that like Lee was being full of shit. So like, and everyone was pretty much on board getting rid of him. And then as soon as I made him the renom, clearly I made the right choice. And after hearing about the car accident 3 years ago, definitely made the right choice. I was the vote to save Sandy when it was Sandy and Madison on the block. I knew she was going to go out unanimously. I didn't want her to go to unanimously. I thought she had a really good eviction speech. I just wish she campaigned to people. Everyone thought it was someone else. I was like,
because you were the one that was the most like Madison has
keep
to
Madison.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So I guess I did like maybe 2 times in this game. Overall,
I was
pretty funny, Mr. I've never lied.
I was leaning.
I still think I played one of the most honest games that great.
Okay, I'm just.
I went to sleep leaning towards keeping Sandy, and then I woke up after Sandy was already gone. So
I truly think that if you guys voted Javik Madison, I would not have voted you out at final 11.
I would have done it if I was awake.
I was keeping Madison.
Why did so many people not show up to HOH competitions? I don't think that applies to anyone here, but that was something that really bothered me.
It was in the beginning for me. There were so many people. It was hard to like accommodate my like really awful scheduling because I work really late. And as the numbers got down more, it was easier to accommodate that so I could show up for things. That's just it. I was always at work. It wasn't like I was just, I'm not going to show up.
It's not really you, Julia. It was just like, I wish Caleb wouldn't have left. Like, he didn't show up to a lot of competitions. Like, I understood some of the later ones because he had a wedding or whatever. But that was something that really bothered me, especially when I look back at the week that I went home and like, I wasn't home and I still came like, and at least watched the competition. And it's just like, I don't feel bad about leaving because at the end of the day, I got confirmation from the hosts that like it was inactivity that fucked everything. And it's just when I was watching the weeks after I left, it was frustrating seeing like people not really give a fuck. And like me sitting there, like I would really like to play. And like you even got Lee sending fucking car accidents that aren't even like in real time. And
I knew
like,
it.
and he leaves too. It's like, I don't know, that really bothered me. And that's why like Jacob seems like a nice person, but his game really bothered me because he didn't even really fucking try until it was too late. Like
I will stick up for Jacob because like he was runner up in several HOH competitions in the early phase of the game and like was at pretty much everything that he could have been at and was like very active in like PMs and stuff.
Maybe I just didn't see that side of him.
Snapchat.
Yeah, literally after you got evicted, he's like, Thomas, he's like, I'd want to be playing the game that you're playing right now. And he was like, but obviously I didn't. And I was like, you shouldn't have gone for that veto, man. I knew that was the worst move of the season. And I told Michael that like 10,000 times. Brian can confirm, like, of course, that's going to be a horrible move. Like, why would you do that? And then why would you go to, try to tell Rachel that you didn't know she was going to be the renom? Like, duh, you did. Like, that was total bullshit.
The thing is, I was going to win that anyway. Like I literally would have won that.
I would have won if you didn't push so hard.
Tried so hard.
Julia would have won that if Jacob had submitted like 2 seconds later. Julia had that veto. So Julia also would not have been able to compete in HOH for 3 weeks, but
it's not like she won any of those.
Okay, let's be real. I won Austin's HOH. It's fine.
Props to Zach for getting Caleb to take him to final 3. I will say that.
Okay, but I'm still pissed that me and Zach didn't get to actually work together for most of the game. Because the entire time I was like, Zach's a sweetheart. I want to work with him. But we were on opposite sides of the house and I was so sad.
Can we get episode titles, please?
Oh yeah,
yes, I will give you those before we turn off the recording. So I will say, Zach, I feel like you got robbed of a lot of episode quotes this season because I had you in those nominees almost every week, and I had to give you one at the finale because I knew you deserved one, but I don't think you ever got voted for one, and I'm really upset about it. But okay, so week 1 was The Witch Can Burn. It was Rachel.
Who said that?
Rachel.
Of course, Rachel said that.
You nominated me and I sprinted to my prod chat.
Well, you were so angry when I told you that you were going on the block. Like,
because you promised everyone safety on call and you specifically specifically, like, individually promised me safety on the call, and it's on the recording on the Facebook page.
Well, to keep it a buck 52, like I had a really bad feeling about Brian and Zach after finding out that they were in that other alliance. But I didn't feel like I could nominate them because I had like said to Zach that I wanted the New Yorkers to stick together, but it never happened. So like if I could have redone that week, I would have put those two up with each other.
I feel if you put up Constance that week, you go to the like literally to jury. I don't know why you were so
Yeah,
bothered
you would have
by
been
me,
involved
Rachel,
on the Rachel
and
flip. Like you would have
Brian.
been
Oh well, that too. Listen, the way that I play games is I try to bury the hatchet. Like, and most of the time when I give people second chances, it works in my favor. And I was a really good ally to Constance, like whether he understands it in his little head or not. Like, I protected him. I literally was trying to get people to trust him. Like, he had zero reason to flip on me the way that he did. And everything I told him was true. Like, he was giving all this info to Brian, and Brian was leaking it back to his alliance. So it's like, and then they took him out like a week later. It's like,
yeah, no, I was very involved in Constance turning on you, Dylan. Because I would like just make up shit. I'd be like, Dylan just told me that you came to him and told him all this shit. Like I was hardcore on the make sure Constance is against Dylan. Like that was a big thing for me early on.
Constance is a dumb motherfucker, and I hope he understands after he left literally a week later just how dumb he was. Like he had zero reason. If he would have voted to keep me here, I would have had the votes because Thomas just confirmed to me and Sandy was going to keep me too. Like I needed one more vote. So it's just Constance is a dumb fuck. So I guess if I had to redo anything, I would have gotten rid of him instead and then tried going under the radar. It's just, this is my first game in a long time. And I'm not used to going, not to up myself, but I'm not used to going home early in Big Brother. I don't know what it is. I just have good luck with Big Brother. So it's just, I don't know. I was just trying to make the game interesting.
So week 2's episode quote was, I feel like I'm playing with a cast of first-timers. That was Josh. Week 3 was gremlin-ass gap-tooth bitch. That was Josh. Gremlin-ass gap-tooth bitch. That was you, Dylan.
Oh, that was me. I was just so angry.
Yeah, that was definitely, I don't think I saw you say that. I think I was told you said that very many times and it was quoted to me. And I was like, okay.
No, I did say that. I took it personal. I was so annoyed. I was like, why did I bother like giving you all this help? Like, whatever.
Week 4 was personally, I'm not a fan of bribery. That was Beth. Week 5 was Major Caca. That was Sandy. So that needed to be an episode. Week 6 was sorry your Facebookers can't vote you to stay. That was Thomas.
Thomas.
I'm sorry, that was really funny. Week 6 was happy birthday Zach. That was Beth.
Period.
Week 7 was it was simply hibernation. That was Madison. Then during the double, it was we all know what's happening here. That was Boston. Week 9 was imagine nominating 2 of the most iconic women in the org community. That was Julia. Week 10 was I swear on my family. That was Brian. Week 11 was you promise I'm not gonna get fucked. That was Brian. Week 12 was knees locked, ass clenched. That was Julia. The final 3 round was I think people just hate women, I guess. That was Beth. And then the finale was I was the main character.
Who said that?
That last one was Zach.
The gasp I let out when he said, Caleb was a background character, I was a main character. I screamed.
I will say, you guys will see the whole EDGIC once I post the chart. But other than week 1, Zach was complex personality every single week. So Zach was a main character this season. Another one, Brian was also complex personality almost every week. He did have one over the top week and one middle of the road week, but so the back and forth between those two. Yeah. Rachel, you also were complex personality every week that you were here. So, okay. Is there anything you guys want to know before I stop the stream? I will leave the Zoom open. I'm going to open it up to alumni to hop on as well if they would like. But is there anything else you want to know on the stream?
No.
Okay.
Rachel, I love you.
So
I'm
with
sorry.
that, thank you guys for a great season. Definitely a really fun season. I really enjoyed it. Zach, congratulations on winning. First ever unanimous winner. It's something to be proud of. So with that, that has been 1984 Lockdown.